It was a job no one could refuse. Just stand inside this square and earn $50. No work required, just stand there from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. At first, Mike didn't believe it. He thought the boss must be joking. But when the boss turned to leave, saying he'd find someone else, Mike quickly grabbed him. Not wanting to miss the opportunity, he accepted the job with a why not attitude. Mike stepped into the square and the boss strode away. For the rest of the day, Mike just stood there. When boredom struck, he watched birds and played with his shadow. He stayed until 5:30 p.m. He hadn't expected much, but surprisingly, the boss returned right on time and handed him the promised $50. Mike was thrilled and declared he could stand there forever. As soon as those words left his mouth, the boss said, "Perfect, that's exactly what I want," and offered to raise his pay to $200. This made Mike ecstatic, and he officially accepted the position. The next day, Mike stood in his square wearing business attire. Two friends happened to pass by and greeted him warmly. They invited him to go skateboarding, mentioning there would be pretty girls and beer. Mike declined, explaining he was working. His response confused his friends, but they didn't press the issue and said goodbye. After they left, Mike thought about what they'd said. He looked around cautiously, then carefully extended his foot outside the square, tapping the ground with his toe to see what would happen. Nothing seemed to change. However, that day he waited until 8 p.m. But the boss never came to pay him. Mike realized this was his punishment. From that day forward, Mike never dared step outside the square again, not even during a robbery or when passersby desperately begged for his help. He would only say, "I'm working, I can't leave." Meanwhile, his salary had increased to $300. One day at 5:30 p.m., the boss arrived as usual with Mike's payment. As the boss was leaving, Mike called after him, intending to quit. The job was too monotonous. But just as he opened his mouth, thoughts of his daily earnings made him swallow his words and say, "Never mind." As the boss walked away, Mike suddenly grew curious and followed him through several blocks until he entered a house. Unable to enter the private residence, Mike peered through a window and was shocked to see the boss transforming into a clown with makeup. Seeing this clown stirred something indescribable in Mike. Perhaps in the boss's eyes, he was nothing but a clown himself. 20 years passed. The once clean-shaven young man now had a face full of stubble, wrinkles around his eyes, and gray hair at his temples. His salary had increased to $500. Now middle-aged, he often reminisced about his carefree youth, skateboarding without constraints. He would trace imaginary skateboard tricks with his fingers, but reminiscing was all he could do now. One day, after paying Mike at the usual time, the boss didn't immediately leave. He expressed satisfaction with Mike's loyalty and led him to another square, offering a 30% raise if he would stand there instead. This new square was larger, with a better view. Mike gratefully accepted. From that day forward, Mike stood in this new square for over 30 years. Now, with a full head of white hair, his daily wage had increased to $2,000, yet the boss hadn't aged a day. One day after receiving his payment, Mike hesitantly told the boss that while he had enjoyed working for him all these years, he wanted to retire. The boss agreed, and so Mike retired, stepping out of the square that had confined him for a lifetime, never to return. On his way home, he traded his expensive watch for a skateboard from a passerby. He placed the skateboard on the ground, attempting to ride it like he used to. But as soon as he stepped on it, he fell. Holding onto a railing, he tried to jump like he once could, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it anymore.